Good evening and welcome to the Going Solo Network. My name is Dr. Christopher Salute. I am your host of the show today. Give me 1 second. You know how we always like to do. I'm actually going to go live from my Instagram account thinking maybe this might be fun to do. So let's go live and see if we can kind of get some folks to see what's going on. Oh, that is not what I want to be showing. That's the wall. All right, cool. So we're going live on Instagram as well, just trying to let people know kind of what's going on with Going Solo Network and what's going on with my show. I feel like the numbers have been pretty good, but, Cece and I really want to work on some new stuff. So really, just kind of exciting. Want to keep kind of the flow going, just cool stuff. So do I hit this button? Like what? Hold on. Am I live? No, I don't. Hold on. Let's see what I'm doing here. Try this again. Was that a reel? Oh, I think I made a reel. Okay, so now we're live. All right, cool. So now we're live, and I teach social media. This is absurd. So we're only going to go live on Instagram for, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 minutes, something like that. Just give you a little sneak peek. If you are watching live on Instagram, then I would implore you to just come over to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. That's where our show is. So we love to kind of see our show. And I put the link up in my Instagram account so you can just kind of check it out right on the story. So back to where we're at. So my name is Dr. Christopher Salute. You are watching WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio. I'm your host of the Barber Shop. Today we're going to talk about some fun stuff. And you know what, Cece? I totally forgot to crack open a cold one. I always get a club soda, so I'll get one at the break. Today's not going to be a very long show, simply because I just got a lot going on. I'm actually going out to dinner tonight, and then I've got a lot of things. I'm traveling. Life's crazy. I'm going to commencement for my university this weekend, and then next weekend I've got a trip for my business, which I'm really excited about. I wish I could share that information, but I can't. I'm super excited about who I'm going to be interacting with. Just all good stuff, But the show itself today is going to be on Guys Night. So tonight we're going to talk about what goes on during Guys Night. And if you're following, hey, Robbie says, what's up, bro? If you're following, I'm just waving to a couple of folks. I waved to Jersey Jenny. I waved to Elena. How are you? If you're following on Instagram, you do want to head on over to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio. You can just Google them, search them on Facebook, and find them there. Or I put the link right in my Instagram story. So super excited to see some new folks popping in. And you can interact as well. I'm all about the comments. Talk to me. Let me know what's going on. Tonight, we're going to talk about Guys Night. And I always like to do a couple of quick things before we get into the show. So I gave you a quick update on me. Life's crazy. My university is going through some growing pains right now. I'm excited about them. I'm nervous about them. These are things that keep me up at night. I would say that my business is going through growing pains. For those who know me personally, they know that I'm looking to sell my magazines eventually, sooner than later, to potentially an interested investor. I don't know who that's going to be yet. So just kind of prepping it for that, making sure that it's looking the way it needs to look. I'm redesigning the sites. I have that kind of time. Who has that time? It's ridiculous. But, we'll get there eventually. Have some business travel planned over the next couple of weeks. And then just going to host some pool parties in my home in Vegas. I want to see my friends. I haven't seen a lot of, the females that I hang out with from my old kind of plus size community that stuck around and are still friends with me. But tonight, we're not about that. Tonight, we're talking about what goes on during Guys Night. I want to just do a quick prayer for those who might need it. I was doing a prayer for a certain special someone in my life. I found that those prayers were probably unwelcome, and I think that interaction was mismanaged. So I do pray for that person, but I'm not going to make it your obligation to pray for that person. I pray for them because I care about them, and I do still love them, and I cherish the time that we had. So I would just take a second, if you can, and just send some good energy and some good vibes into the universe for somebody that you care about. That's something that's really important to me. We have that conversation a lot about Christianity and what that means. And look, I don't care what you call it. I don't care if you call it faith. I don't care if you call it karma. I don't care if you call it the universe. Put some positive stuff out in the world. That's all I'm saying. If you believe that we're not part of this larger cosmic universe, then I think you have another thing coming. If you think that you work and live in your life completely solo, even though we're on the Going Solo network, that's not how life is. Life is about dependency. Life is about community. Life is about working with people. I'm so glad that I had that opportunity to share those types of interactions with you, for sure. So today we're going to talk about Guys Night. And so like I said, if you're following on Instagram, you've got a couple of minutes to head on over to the show because I'm going to end the live broadcast in about 5 or 6 minutes. Just gives you like a little sneak peek, right? But I really, I tend to start off my my show with like a movie or a TV kind of reference, and tonight's no different. I really struggled with the movie or TV reference that I wanted to use. It's funny, I didn't get a chance to chat with my life coach about it this week because it's a kind of a cool show that I wanted to talk about, and I thought she might give me some insight. But life's just been so crazy busy, and we've all been going through so many things, and the universe is starting to open up back again, and we're starting to feel healthy, and we're doing stuff, and it's been a crazy couple of weeks. So I picked 3 different movies that I thought about with regard to Guys Night. The first movie that I wanted to talk about is Swingers. I actually in what's the word, preparation for the show tonight, I watched Swingers. I was working from home today. Today was like 13 hours of just straight up work. I just like crushed it. I did take about an hour and a half to go work out and sit in the hot tub, but it's like I was answering emails from the hot tub. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't really that, I was still working. I was still kind of doing my thing. I just worked really hard, and I'm watching Swingers. And Swingers isn't necessarily a guy's night movie. It's a guy's life movie. And what I love about Swingers is they have the ability to really break the man-to-man relationship down. Now, I want to be inclusive, and I want you to understand too, when you're watching the Barber Shop, you're watching a show not just for cisgender hetero males. And I truly mean that. Okay, you're watching the Barber Shop because you're watching we talk about anybody who identifies as a male or as a man, and I truly believe that. My friends range from straight men, hetero men, cisgen, to gay men, trans men, non-binary. It really ranges. So if you identify as a man, it pertains to you. But, when we talk about the movie Swingers, these are typically mostly, straight hetero men. This is the late 1990s, and they're in LA, and they're hanging out, and they're having fun, and they're chasing women and all that kind of stuff, right? But what I love about Swingers is, and I'm not going to spoil it because it's a movie you should definitely watch, but Swingers really breaks down the man-to-man interaction, right? It really goes and it shows you how sensitive men can be around one another, and to be honest, the bond that a man can have with another man, because there are these intimate moments that men have with one another in that movie when they're supportive, when they're structuring their evenings, when they're planning, when they're discussing, there's the first scene where, it's Jon Favreau, and Jon Favreau, he would play me in a movie if I'm sorry, not John, Vince Vaughn. Jon Favreau could probably, but Vince Vaughn is talking to Jon Favreau, and he calls him, and Favreau is upset because he left his girlfriend back in New York, and it's a normal growing pain, And Vince Vaughn's like, "Come on, you got to go. There's gonna be beautiful babies at this party. We're gonna hang out," and it's all L.A. And Favreau's like, "I'm not going to no party. I'm not doing this. No, it's not happening." And he goes, "This is one of my favorite lines." He's like, "It's like I go to this party, and then we're gonna say it sucks, and then I go to this other party, and we're gonna leave that party because it sucks, and it's like I'm talking to 3 girls." girls, and it's like, I got to be excited because, I don't know, she's like wearing a backpack or whatever. And none of them amount to my girlfriend, you know? And it's just the way he's descriptive about it. Like, I don't even know what the backpack line's about. Maybe that was something hip in LA in the late 90s. But he talks about, you know, none of them are comparing to his girlfriend, but it's his ex-girlfriend. So, you know, and the transition from girlfriend to ex-girlfriend by the end of the movie, she's always been his ex-girlfriend, but he says ex-girlfriend by the end of the movie. And, you know, it's just a unique kind of, it's a really cool vibe that they just kind of give out with regard to like the, you know, the sensitivity and the bond and the discussion, and it's a great movie, and it's full of guys' nights. I mean, it's about 5 or 6 dudes who just kind of hang out, and sometimes they drink, sometimes they dance, sometimes they golf, sometimes they eat at the diner, and you know, the end of the movie is one of my favorites. Vince Vaughn is, you know, he's wanting to flirt with some woman, and Jon Favreau's like, they're at a diner, and he's like, I figured it out. Like the interaction with women, I figured it out. And you're waiting the whole movie to see what this is. And he's trying to get Vince Vaughn's attention to tell him this like revelation that he has. And Vince Vaughn is like flirting with this woman around at the end of the diner. And he's like giving her a little oh baby, you want this? But there's a hook at the end that you got to check out. So that's the first movie that I wanted to talk about. The second movie that I wanted to bring up was the movie Good Will Hunting. Good Will Hunting is about a guy who, without a doubt, has some growing pains. He's about 21 years old. It's Matt Damon. These are two of my favorite movies, by the way. Matt Damon and he hangs out with his guys pretty much the whole movie, you know. And he grows, and he's trying to. He's got this woman in his life that he's trying to really, you know, impress and get to know. And he feels that she's out of his league, but she feels that he's out of her league because he's so intelligent, and it's this cool thing. And, you know, there's these scenes in which, you know, Ben Affleck, another guy who, if could play, I would love to play me in a movie. Ben Affleck says to Matt Damon, he says, you know, I wish I had my club soda because it makes it a lot easier. But he goes, look, you're my best friend. And he does the Boston accent. Look, you're my best friend. So don't take this the wrong way. But if you're still hanging out here watching Little League, bringing your kids to Little League games out in Boston, I'll effing kill you. And Matt Damon's like, what are you talking about? He goes, no, I'll kill you, you know? And he goes, what do you mean? And he goes, you got something that none of us got, right? You're the smart guy. And what I love about that interaction is he's real with him. And he shows him, look, I care about you, man. I love you. You're a brother to me. Get out of Boston, right? That's not for you. It's for me. I'm going to be doing construction the rest of my life. You're a genius, right? And that's an interaction in which you should be having with your male friends. Like this is true intimacy. This is intimacy between two. I don't care if you're straight, gay, trans, whatever. That's intimacy that doesn't involve physicality, right? It's a true level of understanding that you will have with another man. And I think that's truly, it's a beautiful, it's attractive, it's sexy. I don't care what you want to call it. It's an incredible bond that you have with someone. On that note, I'm going to be shutting down the Instagram live because I don't want to take away from the viewers that WGSN does have. So if you are watching us on Instagram live, feel free to click the link in my profile and check us out. And I want to thank you all for coming on. You guys were great. You guys rock. And I don't know, what do I do? Just hit the X? I want to save it though. Can I save it? What happens when I hit the X? And now save it. Share to IGTV. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Well, let's download it just in case. And then share to IGTV. And yeah, let's save the whole thing. Maybe we can we like, yeah, the Barber Shop? I don't know. Sorry, folks. I normally wouldn't be doing this, but I think this is kind of cool. You can watch me do this. And can I add to series? Ooh, this is great. Okay, well, yeah, I'll do this another day. All right. Post. And look at that. Awesome. Okay, cool. So now you're back on the show. If you've joined us from Instagram, or you're watching on Facebook, or you're watching on YouTube, or the 500 radio stations that CC puts it on. And we've gone through two of the movies. We've gone through Swingers, and we've gone through Good Will Hunting. Now, the third movie I want to talk about is definitely a movie that you are absolutely all familiar with. It's called The Hangover. And there's a funny, I want to bring this up too, because there's an interesting, I don't know what you want to call it, but there was like a comparison between Bridesmaids and The Hangover. And look, Bridesmaids is a great movie. It's an incredible movie. I don't think it's I don't think it's even close to The Hangover. I think The Hangover is 100 times funnier. And it's not, Melissa McCarthy is without a doubt one of my favorite comedians. She's one of my favorite people. But her and Kristen Wiig, I mean, they're definitely carrying that movie. It's not, I don't think it's as funny as The Hangover. So there's some comparisons made, but The Hangover is definitely, without a doubt, I mean, it is the quintessential guys' night out movie. In that movie, all these crazy things happen. And there's drinking and there's partying and there's like Mike Tyson beats somebody up and there's a tiger involved. And it's just all the nutty things that you could possibly, potentially think could happen. Now, what's interesting about all three of these movies, right? Swingers, which is like, just guys hanging out and talking and just being dudes. Good Will Hunting, which is a true bond of intimacy. And then The Hangover, which is like nutty things going on. All of these things and more happen during guys' night, depending on the crowd. Okay. There's no like definitive guys' night. Okay. There's things that potentially happen during guys' night. And then, there's things that may happen during guys' night. One wild card that I'll throw in there is one of my favorite movies, Can't Buy Me Love, with Patrick Dempsey, who's like a dreamboat. He couldn't play me in a movie because he's too attractive. But I mean, that guy is brilliant. And, they do guys' night and they drink like cream soda and they play poker and then they're like nerdy and just hanging out, right? Like guys' night could be Dungeons and Dragons. It could be anything, right? So there's a lot of things that go into guys' night. What inspired this show about guys' night is I've been doing a lot more guys' nights. I've been really enjoying my time with my dudes. I've been creating really strong, intimate bonds with my male friends, and and they're not even all folks who live here. I mean, Roulette, who unfortunately didn't get to have his show tonight. I hope he's okay, but Roulette lives in Portland, and hopefully he's moving to Vegas. I've got friends who live in Reno who come down, and I go up. I've got friends who are local. I've got my New York crew. These are folks who really, truly. Just make my world so much better, between them and my family. These are my brothers, not to mention my brother, right? And so I've been really focusing on these relationships because it's really something that I've wanted to spend more energy. Time is one thing because my time is super, super valuable. But my energy being placed into guys' nights is really important. Now, one of the pitfalls of planning guys' night, in my opinion, is that I'm the planner, and sometimes guys' night completely falls through. So I planned a guys' night a couple of weeks ago. Some of my friends from one group of folks were able to all make it, and then like all my other friends kind of flaked out. And it was kind of disheartening. And I said to myself, well, I don't want to plan these anymore because what's the use? Like, what's the use of planning this thing if nobody wants to come? And it certainly feels like a rejection, right? But when guys' night works, when guys' night's fun, when guys' night happens, you are just on cloud nine. You're hanging out with your bros, and we're going to talk about the differences between guys' night and ladies' night, because I would imagine there's a similar feeling when it's ladies' night. In fact, probably even a higher level of intimacy because y'all do that. I mean, there's no stigma around the sharing at an intimate level with your girlfriends versus with your guy friends when it's like, that kind of stuff. And I tend to find the more inclusive my group is and the smaller my group is, it tends to change the interaction. So when I'm with like bigger guys, like my plus size crew, when I'm with folks who are in the LGBTQ community, folks who may have had a different level of friendship growing up. These folks typically, I'm not saying, they weren't the cool kids, right? I wasn't a cool kid. I was kind of in the middle, right? Me and my friends were kind of in the middle. And when you hang out with those types of folks, you'll tend to experience a deeper level of intimacy faster. They'll disclose more because, it's fewer and far between, and their friends are stronger friends versus the cooler kids who grew up to be adults and don't really know how to share with new folks because they didn't share with their friends because they were too busy being cool, right? So, there's a lot of different levels of sharing these types of things. But it's definitely something that I've wanted to focus on over the past, kind of couple of months. And, I've made some changes in my life. I'm still dating. I'm still trying to do my thing. But I will spend more time doing guys' night than anything else, because I think that it's just something that I need to focus on. So on that note, we are almost at the 20-minute on the hour. I need a club soda real bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a minute, and I'm going to grab a club soda. And I know Cece likes to put on some ads. And if this is your first time watching, we want to welcome you to the show. This is WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. We take a break right now so the CC can throw some ads in. If you're listening on the radio, you're going to hear some ads being played as well there. And this show is called The Barber Shop. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Salute, and we are talking about what happens during Guys Night. I'm going to be right back. You'll watch some ads, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about how Guys and Girls Night differs, some top 10 lists on what we can experience with Guys Night, and we're going to talk about a couple of the past Guys Nights that I've had. We'll see you in a little bit on WGSN. Okay, and we're back. So if this is one of your first shows, that was just our quick kind of commercial interlude that CC likes to throw in. And I've shared the group. I've shared the link with a couple of folks on Instagram as well as Facebook. So hopefully we're getting a couple of folks now. CC, I went and got a club soda. Just crack it open, a cold one during the commercial break. That's just, I mean, I need a club soda to get through the night. We're talking about on WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio, at the Barber Shop, we're talking about Guys Night. You'll notice when I say crack open a cold one, I'm always cracking open a seltzer, and it's because I don't drink. I've had CC, so if you don't know who I'm talking to, CC's producing the show at the bottom here, and sometimes I like to talk to her because I'm otherwise talking to myself, or you, right? But, I've had, since Valentine's Day, I've had 2.5 martinis since Valentine's Day. That's all I've had. Life's exponentially better. I'm not enjoying drinking. It came to a head where I was drinking maybe but once every 1 or 2 months, and I wasn't drinking as heavily as I thought, but when you don't drink a lot, you're not seasoned. And so you wake up real hungover. And so finally on Valentine's Day, we went out the night before, went to Circa, which was a great night. And the next morning, I spent about 12 hours trying to eat a burrito, like one bite at a time, like trying to keep that down, laying back on the couch, and then taking another bite. Spent a whole day, an entire day eating one burrito. So when I go out, I don't drink. But that is typically part of Guys Night. So let's get into Guys Night a little bit. So we talked a little bit about my experiences and why I'm focusing on guys' night. It's just something that I really want to spend more time doing. My guys are true friends. They're good guys. Again, first time watching, if you're just tuning in, when I'm talking about the guys, when I'm talking about men, I'm talking about anybody who identifies as a man, okay? I don't care if you're trans, gay, LGBTQ. I don't care if you're non-binary. If you identify as a man, this show pertains to you, so don't feel excluded, okay? But when I hang out with my guys, that's, I say my guys. So, we've been having probably having guys' night now pretty consistently for the past couple of weeks, at least once, maybe even twice, and sometimes we go out and we get steak. And we're just like hanging out and we're eating some steak. And some nights we go. Last week we went out to we went to Circa. We went back to Circa. I stayed sober. I had one drink, and we just kind of hung out. And I had 2 drinks. I had one at dinner, and then I had another one. That's 3.5 drinks in the past couple of months. I'm sorry. We went up to the top of the roof, and we just shot it. We just shot the stuff. We talked about life. We talked about love. We talked about real estate. We want to buy some land, some property. We talked about business. We talked about the state of our country. We talked about COVID. We talked about good food. We had some cigars. I shared some cigars, kind of shared some hobbies. We talked about relationships and family and all that kind of stuff. But here's where it gets fun. A couple of weeks ago, we had a guys' night, and I had 2 of my friends from different parts of Europe, and they argued for like 3 hours about the European Union. Okay. And like the rest of us were like, what the heck is going on? Right. This is a real thing. This happens. Okay. So for those of you who think that guys' night is like, we're going to a strip club and we're going crazy, more often than not, we're talking like genuine human beings, or we're arguing about something pretty, either stupid or the European Union is not stupid. It's just, it's I don't even want to say it's random. Random is that's not the word, because random means it randomly happened, right? It's tertiary. It's not something you tend to speak about every single day. I've gotten into arguments with my friends over movies, over history, over wars, over Star Wars, over Marvel characters and nerd stuff, and we've argued over everything you could possibly argue over. We've gone to blows over these things. The guys' night that you typically think of is not the guys' night that is happening, right? And look, we've had some guys' nights. Okay, I've had hangover-like nights. I mean, you want to talk about my bachelor party? I don't remember how my ankle got busted. I don't remember what happened. We were on a roof. We crashed a prom at one point. In Canada, we were in Canada. In Canada, the prom, you're like 19 when you graduate high school, so it wasn't that bad. And some of them came up and partied on the roof with us. It was ridiculous. There were pizzas thrown at people. There was food everywhere. Somebody took an American flag. It was running around Montreal because the soccer, the not U.S. Open, but the big soccer tournament was going on. I mean, we've had the night. We've done the strip clubs. We've done the Vegas. I live in Vegas, right? We've done the Atlantic City. We've done the crazy, right? I mean, we've done nights where at 2 a.m. from New York, we decided to go to Atlantic City. So we didn't get there till 4:30 in the morning. What is there to do at 4:30 in the morning but get into something stupid, right? So we've had those nights, right? Is that a night that we're typically having? First of all, I'm 36 years old. I never want another one of those nights again. Let's be real. And I'm typically not having those nights, okay? The nights we're typically having are more, like I said, we're on a rooftop, we're hanging out, we're having a cigar, we're talking about business, we're talking about transactions. We might be, I'm into trading. I've been trading since I was 18 years old. So for those folks who are just getting into trading, I can educate a lot of folks, so I tend to do that, right? I'm just recently, over the past 2 years, gotten into crypto. So that's something I talk about, right? We're talking about, life, we're talking about education, all sorts of cool stuff. Sometimes we're playing cards, sometimes we're not, sometimes, it is what you might think, right? When you're in your 20s, okay, in my experience, okay, and this is where I want to talk about some of the differences, I think, between what I perceive to be ladies' night and guys' night, because ladies' night tends to be, and again, there's so many different gender fluidities going on that, like, who are we to really say what the typical is? But this is what my experience has been. In my experience, I tend to see ladies hang out in a group together. They typically don't go anywhere, even in their 20s. Guys men used to do something a little bit different. When we were in our 20s and we were single, okay, you would go out. And if you weren't single, you just kind of had to, whatever. But we would go out and we'd kind of split up because men are on, they're trying to like do their thing. They're on for the night. They're trying to like hang out with women, right? Then, men will go approach, and they're going to approach like 5 or 6 different like women in a group, because the women tend to stay in that group for safety reasons, but also because they're there to hang out with each other. Men are typically in their 20s thinking with, blinders on, and they're going to go hang out with women. When you get to your 30s and then definitely to your 40s, I would imagine, as I'm creeping up there, you tend to stay in the group a little bit more. But yeah, for sure, as they get a little bit, as in your younger years, you tend to spend that time probably chasing women, or talking about women, or talking about sexual stuff for sure. I'll be honest, I don't even think the last couple of guys' nights, if we even brought up women. I mean, there have been some nights where we had, some folks had some dates or whatever. But, other than that, it wasn't even like, talking about it. And especially for me as a guy who dates plus size women, that typical conversation is going to go a lot differently, because I've been in those situations where you're hanging out with the dudes and it's like, somebody's hitting you on the chest. Oh, you see her. And I'm like, first of all, yeah, we all see her, guy. Stop hitting me on the chest. Number one. Okay. Number two, I'm typically not going to be attracted to the same person that you're attracted to. Even if I am, I'm definitely not going to point to them in the middle of the bar. But okay, let's pretend for a second that I'm an idiot. I'm not attracted to the same woman that most of my friends are attracted to, right? They're typically attracted to a thinner woman, or at least that's what they say, right? Because there are way more men who are attracted to plus size women than admittedly so, and God knows why they don't admit to it. But I typically am not going to be attracted to that person. So I either play along, I go, wow, she's pretty, because she's pretty, right? She's probably a very attractive woman. Or I just go, yeah, she doesn't do it for me. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. But go talk to her. I'll call her. I'll call her over and see if I'll go up to her and say hello. And guys have done that for me too, because I'm a chicken. When it comes to me talking to a woman, I don't know what I'm doing, So those things definitely do happen. But more often than not, it definitely is an argument about like Superman versus Batman, or DC versus Marvel, or what the best food at Disney is. Like, these are conversations that I've had with actual people. Or I'm not a big sports guy, but sports definitely becomes a topic of conversation, especially when you're watching sports, right? For a while I was really heavy into MMA, and I still am. I'd say it's a light hobby. But, I hung out with a lot of guys who did taekwondo, who did karate, who did jujitsu, and we'd get together and we watch the fights. And yeah, those types of nights, they tend to center around the sport, right? We're going to be talking about who would beat who and what the style is and the injuries and that kind of stuff. Same thing with football, right? When you're watching football, you're probably not bringing up Dear Evan Hansen or, the Hamilton Show, right? Probably not, right? Unless it pertains to sport. I'd rather do that because I'm not big on sports, but that's just the nature of the guys' night, right? You're focused on whatever you're watching, and a lot of times you are watching sports. I'd love to have guys' night where we're doing like cooking or something. That'd be probably like a cooking lesson. That would be a lot of fun. Or I'd love to. My father and I would see Broadway shows as I was growing up. I mean, he's not a big into sports guy, and he's a tough dude. He's just not into sports. So it just wasn't a big thing for him. Nothing like a cold one, CC. So that's typically what, our guys' nights are. So as you know, right, as the format of the show kind of goes on, I will talk about some movies, and I talk about my experiences, and then I talk about what the experts have to say. So let's talk about what the experts have to say. I uploaded I loaded a few different articles here. And to be honest, on a few of them, I don't even know if these are like the right things. You know what I mean? But let's see. So the one that I want to start with is I don't really love the title. 10 Reasons You Should Let Your Man Go on Man Dates. First of all, I'm not a big fan of letting anything happen. Okay, you don't let anything, man or woman. Okay, as a partner, I do what I want as long as it doesn't hurt you, and I hope you're okay with that, right? And you do what you want as long as it doesn't hurt me, and I'm okay with that, right? I don't force. I would never let my partner do anything. There's no allowance, right? It's my partner does, and I accept. And if I don't accept, then guess what? Probably it shouldn't be my partner, right? Or we have an adult conversation about it. This is why I'm not a fan, right? These are a couple of reasons. Number one, science says it's good for him, and I agree. There's a scientific fact whereby men hanging out with other men says this tribal kind of a wisdom thing that's passed on through this bond, right? Because a night in alone has its advantages as well. So women can hang out by themselves, right? His friends will love you for it. His friends should love you anyway. He'll appreciate you more. Well, I think so. I think time apart is always time well spent, even though I want to spend time with my partner when I have a partner, right? I certainly want to spend time away from my partner so that I can appreciate them. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. And what the heck am I going to talk about if all we do is spend all the time together, right? Like, let me spend some time without you. You know what I mean? And then there's a couple. I'm not going to go through all 10 because I don't love I don't love all of these answers. Academics insist it's important, meaning there's some research behind it. Men need to engage in manly discussion. What defines manly discussion? I would combat that with, right? That kind of stuff. And then the last one, which I think is super important, it shows that there's trust. And I completely agree with that. I think that time apart is spent is super important. Okay. Now this other article I printed up, which I think is kind of funny. I just uploaded 8 fun ideas for guys' night out. Now, here's the interesting thing. We typically go out for drinks, almost always. My dudes are not typical dudes because I'm not a typical dude. I'm a sensitive guy. I prefer close partnered relationships with men and women, right? And so we're not going out for drinks and grunting and nodding and playing with tools. I mean, sometimes, there's tools involved. If we're in the backyard playing with stuff, me and my roommate will break something and put it back together. But a lot of times, we are vulnerable and we talk about how, we want to spend time with each other. What should we do? So I thought this was a cool article, because I'll say that. I'll say, bro, I want to spend time with you, but I don't want to get a drink. You want to just come hang out? You want to grab a bite to eat? You want to go get a sandwich? Not for me because of carbs, but you want to go watch a movie or something like that, So these are the 8 ideas. Go to a game. And I'm going to say go to anything. Go to a game, live show, whatever. You know what I mean? Try something adventurous, like a hike or something like that. Or maybe it's, going to an amusement park, which I love. I got a group of guys, man. We hang out every year. We go to Disney and we do Epcot and we do drinks around the world. And man, do we have a good time. And the conversations with my dudes range from, there's some girl talk because we're hanging out for the weekend. So they're talking about, this one, that one. I went on a date, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like breaking out into tears because somebody misses their father. I mean, these things happen, or something happened where somebody's a child is not bonding with their father as much, and they miss that. Those are real things. These things happen. It's even me sometimes. You know what I mean? They say to check out the club scene. I think you're going to lose your guys if you go to a club because all the guys are going to want to do is talk to women. But that's, whatever. Go on a personal brewery tour. That's what I'm about. Or a food tour, right? Indulge in a steak, which I've done several times, right? Catch a movie. I like the idea of catching a movie, but you're not going to talk as much. I mean, you could talk after the movie, like, oh man, did you see that? That was a cool time, right? Go to laser tag. It says bring back laser tag. If you haven't seen the movie Tag, you should. But yeah, anything competitive like that, laser tag, paintballing, something like that, or you get competitive at a bowling alley. I'll even throw in an arcade. Go to Dave & Buster's or something like that. These are some really cool ideas that I think are just a lot of fun. You know what I mean? And then lastly, they've got this guys' night out versus girls' night out, which, to be honest, I'm not going to be able to to get through like the entire article because it's pretty in depth, but it's on therooster.com. They talk about getting ready, pre-gaming, and then the essentials for both. And, what I find interesting, and My guys, we're typically getting ready and pre-gaming, and it takes us maybe an hour. In fact, out of that hour, it's like 20 minutes that we're getting ready. We usually shower, like in Jersey Shore, t-shirt time, right? So you usually shower, and then you're just hanging out in whatever clothes you're hanging out in, and you're maybe having a drink or whatever, you eating some food, and then about 20 minutes before you call the cab or whatever, you're gonna go and you're gonna get ready, walk with a beer in your hand or a nacho in your face or whatever, and you're gonna do it. I'm just going to imagine. I've never been around during ladies' night, but I'm going to imagine that that's not how they get ready. I'm going to think that they put a lot more effort into how they get ready. Just throwing that out there. But in fact, this article does reference gym tan laundry. Now that I looked up, if I scrolled down for a second, but I will say this: guys' night and getting and prepping for guys' night is a little bit more involved than you might think. I have walked out of the room with my shirt off going, which shirt, bro? Like, which color? And then they say this color, and I go, all right, but dude, like, I was going to wear my purple sneakers, so now I'm wearing a green shirt. That doesn't work. Now I got to change my sneakers. And I've had my guys be like, oh, bro, just be confident. Like, wear what you're going to wear. And then I'm like, all right, well, which watch am I wearing? All right, am I wearing, I have tiers of my scents, of my cologne. So I'll be like, yo, am I wearing like tier 3? Is it like we're just chilling tonight? Or should I like rock the hard, should I go polo tonight? Or should I go with my Mansouri, which is like $200, which if we're going to a steakhouse, that's typically what I'll put on, And a lot of these, it says the essentials, right? Making sure they shower, packing, protection, packing, maybe a beer for the road, a late night joint, emergency snacks, that kind of stuff, which I think is funny. The essentials they say for women, the smell, gum, toothbrush, lip gloss, making sure they have their cell phone, their birth control with them, that kind of stuff. It's just really interesting. It's actually, I've never been on the Rooster, so I think it's a kind of cool website. So I'll take a look at it. But I would say that guys' night and girls' night does differ. Probably when you're younger, I'm going to go ahead and say guys' night and girls' night are ladies' night, women's night, whatever you want to say. Probably a little bit more similar as you get older, because we're both slowing down. We're both easing into, hopefully finding that partnership, hopefully finding that person that brings you peace, and hopefully you have a partner. So maybe you're not chasing people, throughout the evening. But what I find is that guys' night, not only is it important, but it's important for all the reasons that you don't realize it's important. It's important because those are the nights that you're going to joke about. Those are the nights that you're going to laugh about. They are the nights that, without a doubt, make your relationship stronger. I've got jokes with my friends that date back to age 14. I mean, just joking about the fact that I ate like 4 glazed and raisin Aunt Annie's pretzels one night to somebody got drunk and couldn't even speak words, and we repeated those non-verbal words back to them. And so these are the nights that I think are super important. And yes, can your partner be there for those nights? Absolutely. But there's this bond that occurs when guys or women hang out, when friends hang out together without that partner, for a couple of reasons. One is, you tend to get a little tense when you're managing a couple of different groups. Number one. Number two, to think about, it's 2021. Relationships don't last long anymore. So maybe you don't bring your partner to every single night because you want to remember those nights vividly and well if that partner's not to be around for the rest of your life. So, those are just some thoughts. That being said, I know we started a little bit late, but I'm actually going to go out. I have some stuff that I have to do. I'm traveling tomorrow. I'm working my tush off. So we want to thank you here at WGSN-DB Going Solo Network for watching The Barber Shop. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Salute. Tonight you watched an insight to Guys Night. And honestly, CC, I think we should probably do a sequel because I think we could do a whole series on what's going on with Guys Night. But if this was your first time or your 100th time, I want to thank you so much for taking the time, spending it with WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio, with myself, Dr. Christopher Salute, watching The Barber Shop and talking about Guys Night. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for your energy. That was The Barber Shop. Cut.